Millions of seniors take these three supplements every day, but taking the wrong dose can be ineffective or even risky. Some people take extremely high doses without understanding the dangers, while others take too little and remain deficient for years without realizing it. So how much do you actually need? What happens if you take too little or too much? And why are more experts now saying magnesium, vitamin D3, and K2 should work together instead of separately? In this video, we will break down the science, the common mistakes, safe dosage ranges, and how to take these supplements properly so your body actually benefits from them. But before we start, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to help the video reach more people who will benefit from it. Now let's begin with magnesium. The recommended dietary allowance for magnesium is generally around 310 to 420 milligrams per day for most adults. However, the problem is that these numbers are mainly designed to prevent obvious deficiency symptoms like muscle cramps or severe fatigue, not to optimize health or correct the low magnesium levels that become increasingly common with age. Recent studies suggest that many people may need significantly more, often around 400 to 600 milligrams of elemental magnesium per day, especially if they are dealing with chronic stress, poor sleep, high sugar intake, or certain medications that deplete magnesium. There's also another reason why magnesium intake can be confusing. While health authorities provide general recommendations for the average person, many experts in recent studies suggest that magnesium needs may vary depending on body size and individual factors. Later in the video, we'll talk about how to estimate your magnesium needs based on body weight. Now, when it comes to vitamin D3, the official recommended daily allowance for most adults is around 600 to 800 IU per day. However, these recommendations were primarily created to prevent serious deficiency diseases like rickets and severe bone problems, not necessarily to support optimal immune function, mood, heart health, or the increased needs that often come with aging. Newer research suggests that adults who are deficient, or those who get very little sun exposure, may require higher amounts, often around 2,000 to 5,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily, to reach healthy blood levels. Some individuals have even maintained 10,000 IU per day without problems when used appropriately and monitored properly, which we'll discuss later in the video. Now let's take a look at vitamin K2. One reason this nutrient can be confusing is that there is still no universal agreement on ideal intake levels. Historically, vitamin K deficiency was considered uncommon, so much less attention was given to determining optimal K2 requirements. Emerging studies suggest that 100 to 200 micrograms of K2 daily, particularly the MK7 form, may be ideal for cardiovascular and bone health. This is higher than what most people get through diet alone and far above the minimal amounts needed just to prevent deficiency. The real purpose is not just preventing deficiency, it is helping move calcium into the bones instead of allowing it to build up in the arteries and soft tissues. For instance, research published in Osteoporosis International demonstrated that taking 180 micrograms of MK7 daily for 3 years significantly increased bone density and slowed bone loss in postmenopausal women. Some studies have even investigated higher doses up to 360 micrograms per day with encouraging outcomes. However, it is important to be aware that a small number of people report heart palpitations when using high doses of vitamin K2. Therefore, anyone thinking of exceeding 100 micrograms daily should carefully monitor their body's response and consult a healthcare professional. Additionally, individuals taking anticoagulants, such as warfarin, must seek medical guidance before starting K2 supplementation. Now let's talk about the safe upper limits for magnesium, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2, because understanding how much is too much is just as important as knowing how much you need. Let's start with magnesium. Excess magnesium from food is usually harmless because the kidneys remove it through urine, but supplements are different. The official safe upper limit for supplemental magnesium is 350 milligrams of elemental magnesium per day, mainly to prevent digestive issues like diarrhea, which is the most common side effect of taking too much at once. That said, in real-world practice, many people, especially those under chronic stress or with magnesium deficiencies, can safely take higher amounts, often 500 to 800 milligrams per day, as long as the dose is split into 2 or more servings, uses highly absorbable forms such as magnesium glycinate or magnesium malate, and is used only for a short period while magnesium reserves are being replenished. This is what is commonly referred to as a therapeutic dose. It is also important to focus on elemental magnesium, not the total weight of the compound listed on the bottle. The elemental amount tells you how much actual magnesium your body's getting, which is what matters for both effectiveness and safety. However, if you have kidney issues, excess magnesium can become dangerous because your body may struggle to eliminate it properly. This can lead to low blood pressure, muscle weakness, irregular heartbeats, and in very rare cases, even cardiac arrest, especially if the kidney problem is severe. So how do you know if you are taking too much magnesium? Watch for signs such as loose stools or diarrhea, nausea or stomach cramps, feeling unusually weak or dizzy, heart palpitations, or irregular heartbeat. If any of these occur, cut back the dose immediately and check the elemental magnesium content on your supplement label. Splitting doses throughout the day also helps your body absorb magnesium more efficiently and reduces the risk of side effects. But here's the surprising part. Even when people take the correct supplements, many still fail to get the benefits because of a few common mistakes that quietly block absorption or increase risks. Even though magnesium, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2 are powerful nutrients, people often use them in ways that make them less effective or accidentally create problems. Here are 3 supplement mistakes that quietly ruin results for millions of people. The first very common mistake is taking magnesium and calcium at the same time. Magnesium and calcium can compete for absorption in the digestive system, especially when taken in large amounts together. Spacing them out by a couple of hours usually prevents this interference and allows each mineral to work properly. The only exception is when someone uses a well-balanced formula specifically designed to avoid mineral interference. Second, mixing magnesium with large doses of zinc or iron. High-dose zinc or iron supplements can block magnesium absorption, and magnesium can also interfere with how well those minerals are absorbed. Taking them at the same time can make all 3 less effective, which is especially important for seniors, since nutrient absorption often becomes less efficient with age. Third, using high doses of vitamin D for long periods without monitoring. Short-term higher doses are sometimes used by healthcare professionals, but doing this long-term without guidance can push calcium levels too high. Regular monitoring through a doctor is important when vitamin D intake remains high for extended periods. Now let's talk about how to estimate your magnesium requirement based on your body weight. Most experts consider 4 to 6 milligrams of magnesium per kilogram of body weight as a theoretical requirement range for maintaining normal magnesium status. This is not a dosing instruction. It is simply a way to understand why a 50-kilogram person and a 90-kilogram person may not have the same magnesium needs. Now here's how to know whether you're taking the right amount of magnesium, vitamin D3, or vitamin K2. Often it comes down to how your body feels. When your magnesium intake matches your needs, sleep usually becomes deeper and more refreshing. Muscle cramps begin to ease. Your nerves feel calmer. Digestion settles into a more comfortable rhythm, and if you experience heart palpitations, they may start to improve. With vitamin D3, the right dose is often reflected in a more stable mood, improved energy, stronger immunity, and fewer colds or infections over time. Vitamin K2 is a bit different because most people do not feel its effects immediately. When the dose is appropriate, it quietly supports long-term bone strength, helps the body direct calcium into the right places, and reduces the chances of calcium accumulating in the arteries. If this helped you, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only and isn't a substitute for medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider before starting any new supplement.